This is going to be an unscripted video, just kind of going over the Fallout show seasons 1 and 2. Spoilers for the most part. I'm assuming though that, if you've seen the show, you're probably watching this. First though, I want to kind of talk a little bit about my love for Fallout and sort of how much this franchise has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. 3rd or 4th grade, I was a member for Xbox Live, and they would do this thing where you'd get free video games every month. It would be like maybe 1 or 2 free games, and one of them was Fallout New Vegas. I knew nothing about Fallout at that point, but it looked cool because it was man with a cool set of armor holding a gun. And as a little kid, you're like, yeah, I'll play that, why not? And I remember just being sucked into that world and just enjoying the freedom of it all. I just, as a kid, loved running around and just shooting a bunch of people and then getting blown up by, like, I don't know, Victor. Like, it was so stupid, but I just had so much fun messing around with it. And then as I got older, I found myself appreciating the story more and learning how to do actual quests and, not just being a little gremlin. Fallout 4 came out when I was in middle school, and that was so crucial for me. I vividly remember putting hundreds of hours in that when I was in middle school, high school, just all throughout those years. I played through every single ending. I did the Brotherhood of Steel campaign. I did the Minutemen campaign. The Institute one I did maybe once, and then I don't think I ever actually did the Railroad one because the Railroad are just so boring. I couldn't care less about them. But the Minutemen is mainly who I sided with. I don't know why. I think it's just because I'm boring and I like to kind of be a good guy when I play games.
So what do you plan on doing about the jet problem in our community?
How about the settlement problem? Another settlement needs our help. I'll mark it on your map.
Now, mind you, I will say that going from New Vegas to Fallout 4 is nuts. And my reasoning for that is that the gameplay in Fallout 4 is far superior to New Vegas, but the storyline in New Vegas is far superior to Fallout 4. It's insane how, I don't want to be too cruel here, but like how bad of an RPG Fallout 4 is. It's just not that good of a role-playing game, and I find myself just every time I play it wanting to do more and wanting to have more freedom, and I ultimately just am restricted to what Bethesda wanted me to do in that game. It's not that fun looking back. Jumping forward now to where the Fallout show comes out, I didn't play Fallout 76. I just am not really an online game person. I'll play Fortnite every now and then.
Let's go!
What?
Let's go! He flew straight into the storm, bro. Let's go.
Oh. I was very excited though when they announced that they're making a Fallout show, especially because it's like you could do so much with this world, with this universe, with this story. I mean, the potential in the aesthetics alone is right there. And I got excited when the people that made Westworld were working on this because I love the HBO version of Westworld. The original by Yul Brynner is far superior. It's my favorite version of that story. And I know that the Westworld HBO one is kind of like a sequel, whatever. Doesn't matter. My point being, I loved that first season, and knowing that that was some of the creative team behind Fallout got me pretty hyped. And in a way, I can't help but think about how Fallout and Westworld are very similar in terms of their execution and quality. Both start out very strong. Both have this kind of gunslinger character that you're just like, ooh, you're different. Who are you? Like, you're not like these other people in the story. And both ultimately kind of fall apart as the story goes along. But for some reason, I still keep tuning in to watch it. Now's as good a time as any to just get the positives out of the way, so I'm not outright shitting on this show, especially because I did find myself enjoying it a lot. I don't give ratings on this channel, but like I think this show would probably be like a 6 out of 10, closer to a 5 than a 7 though. Like it's a little above average for me, and a lot of that is just because of the fan service. Regardless, they nailed the aesthetics of Fallout. The Brotherhood of Steel looks like the Brotherhood of Steel. The Enclave, from what very little we've seen of them, looks like the Enclave. The Ghoul looks like the Ghoul. There are minor things, though, that drive me a little bit nuts. A big one is the Brotherhood of Steel power armor, or really any power armor. Whenever a character's in power armor and they talk, they like pitch it down and try to make it more intimidating. When in the game, it was just like a radio filter on their voice.
Of course not. Synths are the enemy, remember?
All too well.
At times, it gets to the point where you really can't even understand what someone in a set of power armor is even trying to say. Like, it just sounds like garbled nonsense, and I have to have subtitles on the entire time.
You better be right behind me.
Marvel can kill me if I let your ass freeze.
There are also just like little moments in the show where I just am like, yeah, that's not how that works in the game. That's not how that works. I'm not a fan of that. And I get it. It's an adaptation. It's sort of like when you read a book and then you go see the movie and you're like, the book was better. And it's like, well, yeah, of course the book was better. You sat with the characters for much longer. You lived in that world, metaphorically. You understand everything. And so with Fallout, it's the same way. You know, you create your character. You become connected to them, your companions. You understand how that world works just as much as the world that we live in the real world. So when a TV show gets a little detail wrong, it like really irks you, and I kind of got that every now and then. Again, just aesthetics alone. We'll get into the story later. We spend a lot of season 1, at least the early episodes, in the vault, and even then we kind of cut back and forth with Lucy's brother kind of being in the vault and trying to uncover what's going on. And the vault set looks incredible. I can't get over how good this show looks at certain times. I really love how Vault 31, 32, 33 are all sort of connected as this like a triplicate of vaults, I think would be the word, where they all sort of exist separate of one another, but then they can all kind of intertwine at once. I think that's a really cool kind of concept, especially with Vault 31 being executives from Vault Tech who are sort of like running everything, and the people in 33 and 32 don't know any better. That's awesome. I think that's a really interesting sort of conspiracy to drive the show and to keep the Vault stuff interesting, especially because it's not the most terrifying Vault Tech experiment. There are definitely ones in the lore that are far more horrifying. This, I think, is palatable for audiences to go, yeah, that makes sense. That, you know, organization would totally have, you know, people in place to control future generations forever. That makes sense. But like when you watch the show, if you're a fan of the games, you're like, yeah, this visually looks very much in line with the Bethesda games. There's this one like kind of junk town that they go to in season 1 that looks a lot like Fallout 4 with like the multicolored, you know, like rusty buildings and stuff. Like it just looks like something from Diamond City. And I think now is kind of a good time to talk a little bit about the humor. Fallout has always kind of had a sense of humor to it that is very dark. The opening scene of the very first game is someone in power armor shooting someone in the head and then like giving their thumbs up to the camera and like waving at them. Like it's stuff like that that makes it funny, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of, we're going to have a bunch of people in this, you know, boardroom thing all working mind-controlled simultaneously with each other, and they're sharpening each other's pencils and being really polite to each other. It's like, I'm not a fan of that. That's very Reddit. I'm not a fan of that type of humor, and unfortunately, that type of humor just litters the entire show to the point where it kind of becomes unbearable. I've seen a lot of people talk about how Lucy, the character that Ella Purnell plays, is very obnoxious, and some people don't like her. However, I like her a lot when she's paired up with Walton Goggins, the Ghoul, or Cooper Howard, you know, whatever you want to call him, but he's the Ghoul when he's with Lucy. I think their dynamic works perfect when it's just those two together, because she's so upbeat, so optimistic and naive about things, while he's very hardened, he's very cynical, he knows the wasteland, she doesn't. And so you get a lot of moments where he's just like, don't do that, don't go near that person, that's very obviously a trap. She does it, and then they both get into shit together. Like, that's a wonderful dynamic, and I love when that happens. But sometimes the writers just have Lucy go on for way too long talking. A good example would be in season 2 when she's in the dinosaur head about to snipe people and, you know, to save the Ghoul, kind of like I don't know, the good, the bad, the ugly style. And she just keeps talking, and it's like, no, I don't like this. Just shut up. There's too much talking sometimes with her, and I just wish that things would be taken a little bit more seriously when the story demands it, and we're not having this kind of Quirk Chungus moment where she's just talking about, hey, can we try to resolve this? It's like, no, we can't, because they very obviously are trying to kill the Ghoul in this situation. It drives me nuts. It's like, just let's focus the story a little bit more.
I would shoot him down, you take your weapons, and use whatever violence necessary in order for us to escape.
Maximus is a very interesting character because the writers are actually trying to do something with him that another major IP tried to do with a different character and completely failed. The Star Wars sequel trilogy. Can I go one video without talking about Star Wars? Long story short, Finn as a character is someone who was a young boy, was kidnapped by the Empire, became a stormtrooper, he broke free, and then he existed to kind of like rebel against them. Of course, the original story arc was supposed to have him lead the Stormtrooper rebellion on Coruscant, but that never happened because Rise of Skywalker is a terrible movie. Doesn't matter. That whole trilogy sucks. Point being, Maximus feels like Finn done right. He was originally in Shady Sands as a child. The Brotherhood of Steel steps in. You could say they kidnap him, but really they just kind of recruit him. He becomes a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, and then he breaks away to fight the good fight with the NCR. And that's sort of what season 2 is kind of setting up almost, where at the end you can tell he's going to kind of join their ranks and, you know, really fight the good fight in a way. And it's like, man, imagine if that much care was put into Finn's character in Star Wars. This story DNA is like right there, and I just, oh man, it has potential to pay off as a really cool character arc, and I'm very excited to see what they do with Maximus as a character. But at the same time, the writing just kind of fails Maximus at points. Like the scene in season 1 that I just hate is where he says like,
"You want to make my cock explode now?"
and the span of the entire show, there's so many moments where I'm just like, why are they writing these characters this way? Because this could be so much better. The most developed character of the bunch, at least so far, is the Ghoul, who I adore this character. It's so damn cool. I love the makeup and the CGI work, especially how they get rid of the nose. Like, there's times where he'll turn, and you could see that, like, the nose, like, they literally, like, they removed it, and I get that's the character, but it's seamless with the CGI. I just love how everything in this show with the Ghoul, that's like the best part. His character is very interesting. I love the conspiracy angle of the pre-war Cooper storyline, and then now that we're in post-war, we kind of see that he's more jaded. He's trying to get to his family. He's completely a different character in a way, but you still see that like through line of how someone could get from being Cooper to being the Ghoul. And the best parts of him come from when he interacts with other characters, especially, like I said, Lucy's character. There's not really much I can say about his character because it's kind of like the show's not done yet. They greenlit season 3, and I swore in season 2, episode 5, he was dead. When she punches him out that window and he gets impaled on like that pole, I thought he was dead, and I'm like, holy shit, what an insane narrative move to make to kill off arguably your best character in the 5th episode of season 2. It's like, what the fuck? That's insane. And then it, you know, continues, and he does actually live somehow. That was something I really didn't like, actually, because it's like, ghouls aren't like superheroes, you know, like in the world of Fallout, like if a ghoul gets shot in the chest, they're gonna die. If a ghoul gets impaled on a pole like this guy did, he's dead. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it. He's dead. But I get it. It's Walton Goggins. You got to kind of make that work. I feel like they could have done a little bit, you know, a different way of, you know, maybe he gets maimed, because that's just so nuts. I mean, he loses so much blood. It's like, I'm sorry. I get that ghouls are a little bit different. They're irradiated. They're mutated. Whatever. Also, while we're on the topic of member berries and kind of glup shittos, I love that Ron Perlman shows up and as like a super mutant and rescues the Ghoul. I think that's just kind of fun. I kind of smiled at that. I didn't even know it was him at first until my dad literally said, "Oh, that's Hellboy. That's Hellboy's voice." And I'm like, oh, it is? And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, shit. Because I forgot that Ron Perlman was in the first Fallout and the second one. He cameos in a lot of stuff. But regardless, it was a neat cameo. I appreciated that level of member berries. However, there are some points throughout this show where the fan side of my brain gets all giddy, and I go, oh my god, they're introducing a super mutant, oh my god. Just using that as an example. And then my critical filmmaker, you know, like actual, like I understand how movies work side of my brain goes, this is nothing. You are a seal clapping at fish being thrown in your general direction. You are cattle. And that's like the two sides of my brain where it's like, I love this and I hate this. And that's what kind of sucks about it, is because there are some moments where I'm like, this nostalgia bait moment works, but it also kind of doesn't, because I can tell it's only in there to make fans happy. There's this awesome moment that I just was like blown away by in terms of just filmmaking, and it's so stupidly simple. I want to just talk about it because it goes to show how Fallout as a TV show can have some downright incredible moments of filmmaking, and then the next scene can like just shit the bed. But we're going to talk about a good scene here. There's a moment as a flashback where Walton Goggins' character, Cooper Howard, is talking to this kind of like senator who's against corporations, you know, and she's like protesting, and you know, he runs into her earlier in the show, and he's here basically saying like, look, I have this information on Vault Tech, I want to help you, I want to do anything I can. And for the entire scene, he's looking directly into the camera, he's looking right at her. But with her, she's like this, talking to him, she's not looking in the camera. And my filmmaker brain went, she's being dishonest right now. This isn't right. She's like controlled opposition, I bet. I thought I was going nuts. And I even said to my dad, I'm like, if that doesn't lead into anything, this show sucks. If that was just some error where she's just looking in the wrong direction, I'm like, that sucks. And Amazon sucks. But a couple scenes later, he gets into a limo with her because she said she could get him a meeting with the president. And she, you know, is like, here you go, here's the president, and it's Mr. Krabs, which I fucking love that actor. Cooper Howard gives him the stuff, and as a Fallout fan, you realize that's the Enclave.
You are out of uniform, soldier! Where is your power armor?
It was just such a great payoff. It's like, yes, dude, they did something really cool where you were psychologically not trusting this woman, and then it paid it off later because, yes, she is a traitor in a way, and it's like, oh, that's a wonderful bit of filmmaking. Really cool. So at the end of the day, the kind of mindset that I've been maintaining while watching this show is this is non-canon. This is not part of the games, even though it's referencing some of the games and whatnot. This is just an entirely separate thing, especially since a lot of the games rely so heavily on multiple endings, and it's like there isn't really a clear line of canon since each game is kind of in a different location. So like, we're probably never going to come back to New Vegas in a game ever again, because that would kind of ruin what the ending would be. You know, did the courier side with the Legion, or with the NCR, or himself, or Mr. House? It's like, this show tries to kind of beat around the bush, but it ultimately makes everything in that game feel completely meaningless. And that's sort of the issue that I have, is I'm just going to pretend that this is non-canon and just trying to watch it as a slightly above average TV show with some really solid effects work and some decently entertaining characters. So, do I love it? Do I hate it? I think it's pretty good. Like I said, it's like a 6 out of 10 for me, closer to a 5 than a 7. It has a lot going for it. If you're a fan of Fallout, then absolutely watch this. My dad, who I've been watching every episode with, he is not a fan of Fallout. He is not a gamer in any way. He's never played a video game except for Wii Sports, and he blew his shoulder out playing the baseball one, and that was about the end of that. So, you know, if he likes it and he doesn't know anything about the games, there you go. I think that's kind of cool. The one comment that he did make to me that I found kind of funny was he was like, I love all the music. He's like, is that in the game? And I'm like, yes, it is. To the point where it almost seems a bit too on the nose. There's one part in Season 2 where there's this whole gunfight, and they start playing Big Iron just kind of non-diegetically out of nowhere. I love this song. I love the song in the game. Would it not have been better and cooler to have Lucy listening to New Vegas radio on her Pip-Boy? That could have been really cool. I don't know. But there are just moments like that where it doesn't serve a purpose to the story, but I still find myself enjoying it because I'm a fan. And again, that's that you are cattle side of my brain, and then the I'm just a fan. I like wearing, you know, propeller hat and licking lollipops. I don't know. I'm just.
You wanna make my cock explode now?
But I want to know, what do you think? Because this is a very controversial show. The discourse surrounding it has been insane. Like, I genuinely haven't seen this much vitriol from either side, like, ever. Maybe since, like, The Last Jedi. Maybe I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but, like, goddamn, Twitter is a war zone with this show. Where you have some people saying that, you know,
it's a bunch of woke nonsense, and, you know, this is the millennial quirk
chunkusness of society. It's just fucking insane. And then you have the other side that's just like,
it's good, just enjoy it, chud.
You know what? Let's just all calm the fuck down and watch it or not. I don't fucking care. But let me know what you think, because I would like to know what the consensus is. Give me your honest thoughts. I'm very curious. I try to respond to comments as much as humanly possible. It is hard sometimes with a channel like this, but I do my best to at least read every comment. So if you comment something, I'm going to read it.
You want to make my cock explode now?
Big thank you to channel members. Your names are listed right up here on screen. For $1.99 a month, you can support the channel and everything I do. You get select videos early. You get your names listed in videos just like this. means the most. And if you're not a channel member, either way, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.